The winding mountain road seemed to go on forever as I drove my old pickup truck deeper into the Appalachian wilderness. I was headed to a cabin my uncle owned, nestled in a remote valley between the ancient peaks. I needed some time alone after losing my job and breaking up with my girlfriend, so my uncle offered me the rustic cabin for as long as I wanted. As the paved road turned to gravel, then finally a barely there dirt trail, the dense forest crowded closer, until it felt like the trees were closing in around me. I started to wonder if I was lost, but then the trail opened up and I saw the cabin just ahead, next to a small lake. I unpacked and spent the first evening sitting on the creaky porch, watching the sunset paint the mountains pink and orange. As darkness crept through the woods, I thought I heard strange noises, like chanting or singing, echoing faintly through the trees, but I told myself it was just animals. The next day I explored the woods around the cabin. I felt eyes watching me as I hiked, though I saw no other people. Thunderclouds rolled in by late afternoon, and I barely made it back to the cabin before a torrential downpour began. After dinner, the chanting noises rose again from the forest. They seemed closer now, just beyond the tree line. I tried to ignore them as the rain lashed the cabin and thunder shook the ground. But later, over the noise of the storm, I heard something new, a shriek that sounded unmistakably human. Then silence again. In the morning I saw that the storm had brought down trees and washed out the trail leading back down the mountain. I was well and truly alone. The chanting returned at dusk, louder and more insistent. And were those shadows I saw dancing just outside the tree line? On the third day, against my better judgment, I walked toward the source of the strange chanting. The shadows flitted around me as I walked deeper into the forest. Finally, I came upon a clearing. My blood ran cold. A group of 8 men in ragged clothes stood in a circle chanting in a language I did not know. In the middle of the circle, a 9th man lay sprawled on the ground, unmoving. A crude stone altar stained dark with blood stood nearby. The men turned towards me, their eyes wild and vacant. I turned and ran, crashing blindly through the underbrush as the men shrieked and gave chase. They gained on me, clawing at my clothes as I ran. I felt a hand grasp my shoulder and its nails dig painfully into my flesh. With a burst of adrenaline I slipped free and sprinted on, finally reaching the cabin just ahead of the pursuers. I quickly locked the doors and shoved furniture in front of them. The crazed men surrounded the cabin, screaming threats in their strange tongue. Their chilling wails echoed through the mountains all night as I huddled in the corner, trembling. At dawn the noises stopped. I peered out the window to see the men shuffling back into the woods, the clearing empty again but for the blood-stained altar. I knew I had to get out of those mountains. As soon as the trail was passable I packed hastily and drove away, never stopping until the high peaks faded in my rearview mirror. I made it back to civilization, but was forever changed by what I witnessed in that isolated valley. Though the mountains called to me again over the years, inviting and ominous, I never returned. Thank you for watching. If you like these stories, kindly like, subscribe and comment for more scary content.